I'm clear.
Head to the next canyon. I'm gonna work my way down. Get to the bottom of the canyon.
Whoa.
We'll meet there.
This is actually really disorienting.
Is this like the first of these vertical segments?
Yeah, this is like the vertical cover tutorial, essentially.
I don't know about
Okay.
that.
You can do this.
Whoop.
Oh boy, that was a miss.
I feel like the problem with vertical cover is that games are a lot better at horizontal visibility than they are at vertical visibility. Like in terms of your camera.
Sure.
The
That-
thing
Yeah,
that
for
I-
3D games.
Seems
Yeah.
that seems like the
The thing that
immediate
makes
thing.
the thing that makes this disorienting is they basically kind of just swap the axes.
Mhm.
You hit a button to go into a mode.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
the camera changes axes, but the
You missed again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's okay.
the movement
looks,
of the
it looks
dude
really
doesn't.
neat when it's working well, but when it's working not well, it makes me want to throw up.
Yeah.
I've seen,
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen screenshots of I guess mid or late game stuff where you're like in weird, on the weird giant spaceships and stuff, and that looks cool. It reminds me of the Sovereign sequence in Mass Effect.
Oh yeah.
Spoiling the ends of games. I can go play Mass Effect 1. It's good.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like when I'm in this
Cool.
mode,
Yeah, don't do that.
and I'm like
God.
this, I really want to look to the right, and it goes, whoa, oh
Yeah,
god,
that's-
oh Jesus,
Don't like that.
whoa, whoa.
Be great one. Phil should be joining us shortly. He's bathing Sammy, his baby. He is a baby.
Oh
he-
god damn it!
Maybe you're not supposed to. Oh. Are you supposed to hand over hand or something?
Maybe. If at first you don't succeed, try changing tactics. Great, thanks game. Good tips. Alright, so my tactic this time is just going to be, I'm just going to jump into this waterfall. How about that?
You're good. Okay, so,
Get to the bottom of the canyon. We'll meet there.
Alright, so you drop. So what, if you hit X, do you automatically fall, or do you?
No, it makes the,
Can you just
you
go
have
to
to
hand?
look down, but I don't actually have the prompt even
Oh,
right now.
Okay. Oh wait.
See, there's the prompt. No, that makes me look down, but now I
Okay.
don't have anywhere to jump to.
I see.
The
Well, just-
objective marker's right there, so it's gotta
Yeah.
be. Oh,
Okay.
yep,
Ah.
there we go.
This.
It's just a real stupid jump.
Yep.
Oh, what? Go back. Oh, jeez. Motion
Alright.
Sickness Simulator 2014. Oh, no. Ah.
Cool. More jumping. I'm just letting you know what type of game this is, you know?
Yep. Alright. Thomas says, man, I'm getting such a Tuvok vibe from this jumping.
I think he said Turok.
Oh yeah, Turok.
Tuvok is the character from Star Trek Voyager, right?
Yes.
Is he like jumping? I haven't seen that show much.
No.
Is he a big...
He,
He maybe jumped once or twice.
I don't, you know. I read Turok, and in my brain it was Turok, but
I understand. I do that with other words, I'm sure.
I mean, I also really like Tuvok. Like he's a good character.
Yeah, he's a great character for a lot of
That
reasons.
show.
Also, his relationship with Janeway is really nice, especially at
Yeah.
the end of the series. Made
Yep.
me feel good. Also, he is the head elf dude in Dragon Age Origins.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And I always wanted to believe that when they were doing the voice acting for that, him and Kate Mulgrew like went out for coffee or something. Because she
Oh
was
yeah,
from it.
she was in that too.
Yeah.
Shoots from it.
Yep.
Is the new one of those this year?
I want to say it is, but it might be one of those things that gets pushed.
Look forward to maybe.
That and The Sims are things that I
Whoops.
think are intended to come out in.
God.
Oh, jeez. Are intended to come out in 2014, but I'm not exactly holding my breath for either. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'm a Tuvok dinosaur hunter now.
ZD says Tuvok is as good as Chakotay is terrible. And yeah. Chakotay.
God.
Yeah.
And yeah, he also, Chakotay is way better in the beginning of the series than in the end.
Yeah.
Man, the beginning of that series is so good.
I really like Voyager all the way
Me
through.
too.
It's got some rough bits, but
Yeah.
Star Trek. I've never seen a Star Trek show that doesn't have some rough bits.
right.
Like, I like
Maybe
Star
Deep Space Nine?
No,
I really
Deep Space
like-
Nine totally has some rough
I
bits.
don't know. Like none of them come to mind, but I watched Voyager way more intently than I watched DS9. There was very much a period where like DS9 was the Star Trek that my dad watched, and Voyager was the Star Trek that I watched.
Janine in a little package for you guys.
So I didn't really appreciate DS9. He also watched a lot of Babylon 5, and I still don't really have much patience for that show.
I liked that show a lot when I was younger, but I don't remember much about it, and so I'm curious to see
Whoa.
if that was I legit really liked or what, or if that was just like
I'm sure it was fine. Like,
I've
don't-
tried to get into that show multiple times, and I haven't been able to.
I don't remember a single character. I remember a bit about the world.
there's the guy. I remember a lot of hairstyles and
Yeah,
like
me
weird
too.
hair things.
I remember a lot about the feel of that universe, but I don't remember much about the facts of that universe. You know?
Blazing Raven is counting the number of times that this character has broken his shins with the ridiculous video game jumps I'm doing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Thomas says DS9 is the worst pilot episode, and that episode is
Yeah.
awful.
That's a good point.
He says that there's a lot of terrible Ferengi comedy stuff in DS9. Oh, I could see that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was a real problem early game, Next Generation too.
I think the Ferengi are super interesting, but also it's real easy to do some terrible shit with them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't know that they came from a good place.
Same. I think they came from a very, I suspect,
Switch
came
weapons.
from
Oops, that's a
very
grenade button. Oh, control pad.
uncritical place, just like a place of just like, oh right, and they can be like the unscrupulous space merchants, and they didn't understand that is already a thing that's caught up in a bunch of gross shit. They didn't think about that even a little bit,
No.
and that's a shame.
Oh.
And like, that's also just the problem with Star Trek shorthand for races. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Which is
Or not even just Star Trek, but sci-fi and fantasy.
Totally. But like, it comes from a place where Star Trek: The Original Series had gangster planets, and the fact that like, oh, the more complicated version of that is still just alien races that are weird stereotypes is like, I don't know. I think about something like the Ferengi, and like they're even more. I don't know. They just gross me out so much. You know, it's just tough to.
Man, I'm
They
probably
did-
gonna
they
make
do in the
I'm gonna make
original.
some people real angry right here. I think the original series is complete dreck from beginning to end.
I think there's some fun episodes, and I think I've had.
I think what they were trying to do was super different than what later series were trying to do, and like, if that's the thing you're into, then the later series aren't going to be as good. But if that's not the thing you're into, then you're going to be into the later series more.
But I don't know. Oh, yep, here we go. Locking up again. Wait, what is it doing?
Oh no, you're good.
Huh?
You're good.
Huh?
Jeez.
Fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, Windows decided it wanted to tell me to switch color modes. Cool.
What?
Thanks,
What?
Windows.
Great.
Oh, it turned off Arrow?
No, it tried to, but it's still on.
But your
it was telling me, hey,
sidebar
we're
isn't
gonna.
transparent anymore, is it?
No, my
No.
desktop background just changed.
Oh, okay.
I see. Be great one wants to know if Star Trek in general holds up. He or she has only seen the J.J. Abrams and Wrath of Khan.
If you've seen
I think
Wrath
next
of Khan and you liked it, then yes.
Then check out some. I had a lot. Okay, so a couple of years ago,
Maybe
around when
skip
Star
the
Trek-
first few seasons of Next Gen.
Yeah,
skip the first 2 seasons.
They're yeah.
they're still real Roddenberry.
They really are. I mean, again, there's a few good Fs in there. Like,
It's real shitty to say something got better after someone like died and stuff, but
I
the
know.
better way of saying that is that it got better as creative control was decentralized.
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, I like that.
Leadership changed.
New voices were added to the mix.
Right. That's good. That's
That
good.
is what happened.
Mhm.
Also, he died. So I watched through all of original series around when Star Trek Online came out, and I read through all of the AV Club reviews of that show, and that was a fun little dumb project where I
Oh,
could
that's
have
kind of
fun
cool.
looking at fairly critical assessments of those episodes, and really learned how to take it on its, like Janine said, it was trying to do something different. Like, it was a pulpier show than anything had come before it, right? Or sorry, not that had come before it. Any of the other series in the any of the other shows in that series of shows in
Sure.
the franchise. And as far as like space adventure stuff goes, kind of like space alien race of the week stuff, it doesn't all hold up, but there are some episodes out there that are still really strong. And for me, the stuff that ends up working the best is the stuff that veers away from the weird space alien type of the week.
Right.
Stuff that's like, what's it called? Balance of Power, I think is the episode I have in mind, which is just basically a submarine episode, where it's just like the Klingons versus the Enterprise in deep space, and you can see them pushing towards a sort of like taking their universe more seriously and
Sure.
saying, what would deep space combat feel like in our universe? And when it takes itself more seriously, there are like shades of what would be to come of like the better next gen episodes I've seen. But I'm with you. It isn't the thing I would pick from that series.
There's some talk in the chat about Ferengi again, but specifically women in Ferengi society and how they're not allowed to wear clothes.
Yeah.
Another thing is they're not allowed to do any sort of financial stuff. And there's an episode where Quark's mom gets in trouble because she's running a very successful business.
Yeah.
She's making a lot of money, so she's in a lot of trouble.
I remember that being
It's really weird.
a good episode. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting thing to do.
Right.
This is the thing that's always
But-
tough about that, is that, so one of the bits that we've heard a lot lately in kind of advocacy, kind of social progressive stuff in games, has been this pushback against fantasy being reproducing kind of the social ills of the source material, the historical source material for
Sure.
fantasy and sci-fi stuff, right? Where like this is the classic, like Manveer Air just did this speech at GDC where he mentioned, hey, listen, it's fantasy, there's dragons, if there's dragons and elves, then maybe women should be allowed to be full people and not be treated like they were in the Middle Ages in your
Sure.
shitty game, right? I get that argument 100%, and like I think that there's something to it. And I think, but I also think it's important to differentiate between when fantasy and sci-fi stuff uses just relies on those gender tropes, or that kind of historical background of women and people of color were mistreated during that era because there's nothing, they don't know what to do other than that, and focusing on it in a way that kind of interrogates it or places those people in subject positions instead of just background positions. You know, like I've said this before, but I think the Dragon Age Origin city elf stuff is actually really interesting because it is one of the few times in fantasy RPGs where I really feel like being a minority character, especially in the Origin part of that game, feels like being a minority character. It does feel like they're actually playing with that and treating it fairly seriously and trying to interrogate what some of that stuff is. You're getting shot a lot right now, Nick.
Yep.
What's happening?
These guys take
You're just
apparently like
shooting
whole
robots?
multiple clips to die, I guess.
You should
Also,
get
I'm
that
not really
gun
doing
that
it very
showed
smartly.
you in the
What?
thing.
Did it
Didn't it
show
show
me
you
a
some
gun?
sort of super gun thing that you don't have yet? Earlier? In the loading screen or whatever?
Oh, maybe. I don't. Yeah, I would like a super gun. But yeah, no, I totally I totally am put. That's not the run button.
Hashtag
It's
.com.
grenade button.
I just said hashtag.com/run button. I bet you that's not a thing. I hope.
Hashtag.com.
Yeah, I don't. Ugh.
I guess I got here just in time.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
It's a shame there's probably not a lot of run button fan fiction because it'd be so easy to name that website.
What would you name it?
/run button. What?
Oh, ha. Is it really a shame that there is?
No, it's not a shame at all. It's okay.
Spooky Attic says, so are these two gonna kiss?
Almost certainly, right? This is a video game.
Where are we?
Thank you.
Central America? Peru?
Matt is the best.
I've heard
I
that
just
about
want to say that.
lunch today.
So far off course.
He brought me coffee in the other stream. Now he's bringing me beer.
Oh,
The
jeez.
engine's cut out.
Yep.
Did you,
Never brings me either of those things.
Aw.
I saw it. It came right at us.
I wish I don't know. It happened so fast.
There's nothing you could have done, Will.
My frame rate thing tells me that this is running at like 60 frames per second, but my eyeballs tell me otherwise.
Look,
This is
I don't know what you're talking about. This is like
Yeah.
it's like milk, smooth, you know.
you think this is a good idea? Just walking in like this.
That's how people talk about frame rates, right? Like milk.
Choice.
Well, it's good to be out of the jungle at least.
It's my favorite NeoGAF topic. I just briefly caught someone talking about the androgen, I think that's what they're called, episode of Next Generation,
Anunnaki.
and like that episode
Uh-huh.
has some problems,
You know, if the war started,
but
what do you think the fascists want with this place?
as a
I couldn't
when I
say.
originally saw that episode on TV
Hear that?
as a terrified, super
Maybe
closeted
up ahead.
teen,
Come on, Will.
it was pretty affecting.
Yeah.
Must be.
Even though it
Yeah,
kind of
it's-
weirdly
not
it
exactly.
mixes gender and sexuality up in weird ways,
Yeah.
but it was still a thing. You know what I mean? Like it was like, man, maybe love can just be whatever.
It's one of those things. It's very much a case for like even flawed representation can be important,
Sure.
but that's not necessarily a reason to stop pushing for better
I don't
representation. But
know what you
it's
guys
also
want me to
like
do. Oh, here we go.
it's
Well,
good
and
to
it's-
see that shit, even if it's maybe kind of busted sometimes.
It's one of those things that often comes up from well-intending individuals who don't necessarily have
Right.
direct
Mhm.
familiarity with, and you know, and that's to their credit. They want to do it, but the frustrating bit is that they don't take the time to step back and say, well, maybe I should actually talk to someone who's directly influenced by this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And also when stuff like that doesn't evolve, like when you're in a period when storylines like that aren't being approached at all, compared to, 20 years later. You like that. That's why maybe we can look back at that and be like, well,
Right. Yeah,
trying
exactly.
something. But today, it's just like, well, come on, that was 20 years ago. We can do better.
Or it gets frustrating when there's a point at which it moves from okay, this is representation, to they're hiding behind it being representation, which is like
Yeah.
the arrival of the kind of mystical gay man, in the same way that there's the magical Negro trope, right? Which is like, oh, this is the gay guy who's going to come into your normal hetero life to fix you. He's going to make you look better. He's going to tell you how to better treat the women in your life, because that's what they're, and that character, or vice versa, right? Which is like he's going to be the shoulder for you to cry on as a woman in media. Like that's
Yeah.
and that's
the
He's
it.
gonna be
queer
the
eye
will
for
to
the
your
straight
grace,
guy.
and you're never
Right.
gonna see him kiss his
the will,
boyfriend.
the will to your grace, the queer eye to your straight guy, right? Like there is no gay as subject, and that, or obviously that is not the case right now, but there was a period in time where that was the most frustrating thing. It was like, really, is this the best we can hope for? Again, in
Yeah.
the same way that like for years it was like the best you could hope for was to be a Morpheus or a Bagger Vance or a big black dude from that movie with Tom Hanks, and he heals the mouse.
Green Mile.
Green Mile,
I
Michael.
forget what that character's name was.
Big John Steele. I don't know, like something
Murder
vague-
Wizard.
Right, the Murder Wizard. Hashtag Murder Wizards. Oh man, you guys want to play Murder Wizards?
That sounds like a
I think
video
that's
game.
local multiplayer only.
I think that's Magica, probably.
Yeah. Magica is accidental murder wizards.
There's nothing accidental about how I play Magicka.
I really
Um,
hope. I really, really hope that their Gauntlet game is good.
I think
Yeah.
if there's any group to do it,
That
that's not true. Other groups could do it, but they'll do interesting things almost certainly.
even if it's not though, they also have that other game that seems a lot more interesting. What was that?
Trash
Alien
Panic.
shooting? No, I don't think it was Trash Panic.
If I keep saying Trash Panic, eventually it'll be Trash Panic.
No.
You guys just want to switch to Trash Panic? I mean,
have Trash Panic?
yeah.
I can't get past the second level of Trash Panic, but
The
I
game is
still
really
love it.
hard.
It is. Jesus, it is hard.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of like the mystical minority, that's actually what I'm gonna do to the stream here. I'm gonna be the mystical
Right.
gay man to come in and
Get Phil to stop wearing fucking potato sacks. I'm sure Phil dresses fine. I have no idea.
Jeez.
I like this
actually I dress terribly. I wear t-shirts and jeans as much as I possibly can. Like I'm not a very good stereotype.
This is a
what
black
I'm
tie
saying.
stream, Nick. You got it.
Well, you don't have any. There's no face cams here, so I'm wearing a black tie there, and nothing else.
Found a loophole. So yeah, what is the premise of this game exactly again?
They flew through a storm and then they're here.
Oh, you actually have a jetpack now, don't you? Is that a jetpack?
Yeah, I think so. But oh, right. Yeah, I remember that. I have a jetpack, but it's only hover right now. Yep. But it does let me like hover up to a ledge. It's still not like the full-on flying mode stuff.
A friend of mine from New York City just told me via
New York City.
Actually, you just said it like you say Fusilli Jerry. Sorry, next time. Sidebar: I've had you saying Fusilli Jerry in my head now for a week. Like every time I open up my cabinet and see the Fusilli in there, I think Nick saying Fusilli Jerry in the middle of our Cross the Streams mega stream event disaster. Anyway, my friend Brett.
I'm glad I can be such a big part of your life.
You really are. Just told me that my game got shouted out at a game design panel today at some weird like indie game design thing in New York.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Specifically for being for not enforcing any sort of gendered status quo. So related to what we were already talking about.
We should clarify your game, Trash Panic.
My game, trash. I'm trying to think of a funny.
Whoop. Matt is Gesundheit. Everybody say Gesundheit to Matt.
Gesundheit, Matt.
I like panic there because I never say Gesundheit, but then I was like, I don't want to say bless you.
Yeah.
I like
I say
Gesundheit a
bless
lot
you.
better.
I say.
Yeah, I think I say bless you. That's my sort of gut reaction.
I stopped for a while saying bless you. When I was in.
I guess you could go with excuse you, but unless you say that in like a really specific way, it just sounds rude.
Yeah. My mom like got on my case once about not saying it anymore. It was.
I like Gesundheit because it just means good health.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always am just afraid I'm gonna fuck it up because it's such a complicated, weird word.
Yeah.
I thought you were all about going into German, but we were going to German now, Gideon.
I'm not ready.
Too bad. Pick it up. Gesundheit. Gesundheit.
Dankeschön. Bratwurst. Schnitzel?
Man, I could go for a big old German pretzel right now
Yeah.
with some like spicy mustard.
Sounds good.
I don't put mustard on my pretzels.
I don't either, but I would try it.
I wouldn't. I don't think.
I've had a.
Mustard is a thing I put on stuff with meat, and I can't recall ever using mustard on anything that doesn't have meat.
I mean, you don't just put like regular old yellow mustard on pretzel.
Yeah.
Like it's the.
Oh, that's the only mustard I eat.
Oh, okay.
I don't like your fancy
French mustards.
Grey Poupons and.
Tell me everything
I
you
kind
know
of like
about
the
mustard.
music in this game.
I wish you could hear it.
I'm just picturing it's the soundtrack from Trash Panic.
It's
Calling
I
much
don't know how to describe it. It's like electronic, but with some. It's got some violins in there, some like orchestra violins, and it's got like a lot of sliding bass.
What if you want to see me do a magic trick?
Sure.
Am I on?
Whoa.
Oh Jesus!
The Prestige.
You made a Philip here.
Am I on the air?
Hi. Yep.
Hi.
What do you think
Oh,
about
God.
mustard?
What do you about mustard?
What's your
Welcome.
favorite
Mustard
mustard,
talk?
Phil? What do you put mustard on?
Is this the conversation that I just came into?
Yeah, welcome
Yep.
to Mustard Talk. We're talking about
Do you like
mustard.
German mustard or French mustard?
Pasta Talk was canceled. We're picking up the slack.
I guess I would
favorite
have to go
Star Trek
for,
mustard?
for German mustard more than French mustard if you're putting me on the spot. I mean, I like to mix it up a little. I like to have the option to use both. You know, I wouldn't want to limit myself to just one type of mustard, right?
What about on
Put
a
Ferengi.
big old pretzel, like a big soft German soft pretzel?
Yeah, that's delicious. What are you asking me?
Would you put
sleek
mustard on that?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
you can put some mustard on that. You can put some cheese sauce on that. You can put. There's a lot of things you can put on that.
Would you eat mustard while playing Trash Panic?
Like out of a jar, like a jar of mustard, and that's it.
Sure.
Oh,
I mean, you can put it on. You can put it on whatever you want. Trash Panic goes with all kinds of stuff.
I don't understand what's happening tonight. Hi, everybody.
hello.
How's
Welcome
Sarah?
to my stream.
Yeah, I'm
Welcome
glad
to my
be here.
channel.
I'm glad to be a part of this.
I've changed all of your passwords.
I don't like this thing going up. This is
Whoops.
weird.
Yeah.
Vertical cover going up is really weird.
Yeah,
I like the actual shooting bit, but when you fly up a level, it feels really silly.
I mean, yeah, it feels okay when you're doing it, but the whole problem with the vertical cover is the transition back and forth. Like, it's never not disorienting when you go from one to the other.
Why are we playing this game? I've never played this game. Is this game any good?
It's fully generic with a couple of kind of okay ideas.
Okay.
It's one of those games that is totally forgotten about, and maybe for good reason, but also, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
got
I'd always
robots.
meant to get back to it and then never did. Are we playing it in memory of the people who were let go from Airtight Games? Is that what this is?
Oh, did that
Oh,
happen?
I didn't even know
Oh.
that.
That was this
jeez.
week, yeah. There
Is
were
that-
layoffs
is
there.
that- I heard someone say 20 people got fired from studios in San Francisco, and no one even covered it. And then I realized just now that no one mentioned what studio that was while they were chiding people for not mentioning it.
Airtight Games isn't. They're like Seattle or something.
Oh, okay. You know what? It was Seattle. It totally was Seattle, not San Francisco. Yeah.
I know a website, little website called Polygon.com, covered
Yeah.
the layoffs at Airtight.
It was just some asshole on Twitter. I don't even remember who it was. It might have been someone I liked very much, but I don't remember.
It was me.
It was it?
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know if that's the studio that person was talking about either, but I do know that Airtight had layoffs this week and that it was a bummer.
I really like dodging the falling robo bodies. That's actually pretty cool.
They're working on Murdered Soul Sus, which is out very soon. So.
Yeah,
That's-
that game looks weird.
Yeah.
I mean, like weird in a way that I'm hoping I might be into. Like it looks kind of like a B movie type weird.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking before about this game, and like, there's some heart here. It just seems like it was probably resource
Sure.
of why the game does not quite
Well,
really
so
go.
yeah, and part of the difference I think between what you have with Murdered Soul Suspect and what you have with this is this game like has some interesting stuff conceptually, but like in terms of game design, it's really mechanics heavy, and you need to be able to deliver those mechanics. And I feel like that's where Airtight couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, maybe.
Whereas Murdered Soul Suspect seems a lot simpler mechanically. It's
Story heavy.
in a
that-
lot of ways it seems like it is very much like an adventure game.
Right.
So maybe, fingers crossed, they'll actually be able to pull it off.
Jeez, you got shot to death.
They did what
That
else?
door
was-
closed behind me.
They did a quantum conundrum, and that wasn't too
Yeah,
bad. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
great, but it wasn't like
Heard mixed things.
it was. I think it was better than. I say this without having played Dark Void, but it seems to me that quantum conundrum was probably better than Dark Void.
Yeah,
Right.
probably.